And Google announced they are shutting down yet another service this week. Google Hire will terminate in 2020. And this was a subscription service for small businesses to ease their job application process. And it looks like they just didn't get enough customer interest in this to keep it going. But I bring this up because Google in November is going to launch Stadia. They're going to do a massive marketing push on this. There's a lot of negative commentary about this all over the community here on YouTube because of a lot of issues related to Google's track record in keeping their services going over time. And if you go to the Google graveyard here, the number of services that have been killed or are about to be killed is up to 175, including a lot of things like Google Hangouts and a bunch of other services that a lot of us use. Those things go away when Google decides they're not working for the company any longer. And I think the issue with Stadia here is that Google has never given the consumer base that they're trying to attract with this service any kind of confidence that should they decide to axe Stadia like they've axed 175 other things, that the games that they purchased will go with you somewhere else. They haven't said anything about that. Of course, they don't want people to think about the service failing before it starts, but I do think that's going to be a major factor in people deciding to invest money into the Stadia service. Now, I've bought game consoles in the past that have failed. The 3DO is a great example of that, but 25 years later, I still have my console and all the games that I bought for it, even though it was a very short-lived experience. Those of us who were Dreamcast owners, we also had that experience too, but we still, if you didn't sell your Dreamcast, have it and all the games that you can continue to play with it. If Google decides to kill Stadia, there is nothing that you have after that. So we'll have to see whether or not Google will try to instill some confidence in consumers that they will make things right if the service were ever to be shut down. And my pick of the week this week is a video that Metal Jesus Rocks did on this topic because he covers the issue that I brought up along with some other issues like what will happen to your data cap when you're playing these 4K HDR games over the internet essentially. You're going to blow through that cap in no time. And if you've got kids watching Netflix and other things and are already using a lot of data like my kids do, you'll easily put yourself over that, maybe even within a matter of hours. And I don't think a lot of consumers are aware of this yet, and they will be when they get the bill from Comcast charging them extra for every gigabyte they go over. So Google's got to do a better job, I think, communicating some of these limitations to people, giving consumers some confidence about what could happen if the service ever shuts down. I think if they went out and said to people, hey, if it does shut down, we'll mail you a physical disc or we'll give you a credit on the Epic Game Store or something, that might help some folks out a little bit here. But right now, I just don't see this really being all that attractive to people because of these problems. However, I think the market for Stadia is going to be folks who either don't want to buy a high-end gaming PC or can't afford one to enjoy that level of quality. And that's going to be something I think will be very attractive to non-gamers who are buying this for the gamers in their life, namely a lot of parents who don't want to buy little Billy here a $3,000 computer. This is going to be an alternative that I think a lot of people are going to jump on, but they should watch Metal Jesus' video here first and ask these questions of Google so they can at least give us some indication as to what they're going to do about those limitations. But I did, though, order a Google Stadia starter kit, and I have not canceled the order like many others have done so far. And the reason is that I'm curious about how it works, because Stadia's controller here will connect directly to the Stadia services. It's not required to use. In fact, you can just use your browser with whatever controller you have. But I think this might dramatically cut down the input lag of the experience, given that you're taking a lot of steps out of the process. And we'll have to see if this is any better than what the experience might be on the NVIDIA Shield or something, for example. So I'm just curious, which is why I ordered it. But when I do the review, of course, I'll bring up these issues if they're still going unresolved by Google, because I do think there's significant risk here for consumers in subscribing to this service and buying games on it if Google decides to add it to the graveyard at some point in the future. We'll have to see if they rectify some of those concerns as things roll forward, because otherwise I think this might flop before it even gets started.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Mike Talbert, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/s.